Hello and welcome to my channel Inspiring Life Changes. My name's Colette and I'm here today to do a reading for the collective for this Saturn Mars conjunction that's taking place today in Aquarius. But at the same time, Saturn is also squaring over to Uranus in Taurus. So there's an interesting mix of energies happening at the moment, and I'm just going to have a quick look on my notes that I wrote down earlier because I can't remember all the details. So Saturn and Mars are going to meet up at 0 degrees and 39 seconds, which is about 1842 to be precise in the UK. And this energy has kind of been getting stronger, shall we say, since the 27th of March. So it's been an energy that's been building up behind the scenes. And it's exact today, like I was saying. And it's quite an explosive energy, Saturn being a malefic and Mars also being a malefic. When they come together, it can be quite explosive. Mars is also the god of war and battles and the warrior and kind of quite aggressive, forceful energy. And it's taking place in Aquarius. I am going to read you what I wrote on Facebook earlier today as well, so that you can get a general idea of what I think or feel about this energy at this present time. So also we've got Jupiter beginning to conjunct Pluto as well, which again, this energy started on the 14th of March. So behind the scenes there's been this slow gradual build up for this energy happening as well. So there's kind of major playing planets putting out major energy at this moment in time. So Jupiter and Pluto will be conjunct exact on April the 5th. So we've still got a few days for that one to actually come together. But at the same time, again, it's a long-lasting energy, so it's not going to disappear. This energy is going to be around until about May the 15th, when the planets actually kind of start pulling away, because they have what's known as an orb of influence. And so because Jupiter's a big planet and Saturn's a big planet as well, it takes longer for their energies to pull away from each other, or for planets that have come into their orb to actually get out of their field of influence. So both Jupiter and Saturn have probably an orb of about 10, but if you give them an orb of about 5, then it's kind of beginning to lose that energy, that intensity around the actual conjunction point. So the Jupiter conjunct Pluto energy will begin to kind of disappear after May the 15th as well. But again, long-lasting energy because they're major planets. And as from May the 15th, probably before May the 15th, but at the time of May the 15th, we will then have Jupiter, Pluto and Saturn all turning retrograde. They'll have all gone retrograde by that point, by that date. And so when Saturn first moved into Aquarius, it immediately started to make a square across to Uranus, which is in Taurus and has been in Taurus quite some time, has already been retrograde in Taurus and has gone back over the same kind of area for a while now. So that energy is also going to be squared as Saturn moves forward, that energy that Uranus of kind of this kind of change, of things changing, of things not ever returning to the same point, shall we say. Uranus is very much about change and innovation and kind of bolts out of the blue. It's that kind of higher energy, higher mind energy as well. You know, the new coming in, the kind of unknown ways of doing things that have yet to be kind of realised or put into actual practicality. ideas that are a little bit out there, shall we say, ideas that seem at the time a little bit wacky and as though they're not ever going to actually be able to work. They're often kind of Uranus inspirational ideas, and there's probably a lot of those ideas that are going to come into our awareness over the next kind of 2 years as well. So also we have Neptune, who is just about to be conjuncted with Mercury. Mercury's moving forward, it's just come out of its shadow, so it's not quite as confused, shall we say, or quite as kind of foggy, and it's got a purpose now. But the thing is it can't make sense of its purpose because it's in Pisces energy and it's about to meet up with Neptune, which is that very kind of dreamy, deep subconscious energy of like things not really being on a practical, logical mind sense. And Mercury is logical. Mercury likes to make sense of things, and at the moment Mercury's not being able to do that, and it's making Mercury a little bit kind of unclear, shall we say, unclear about what he's supposed to be doing. So those are the major kind of astrological points at the moment that I'm really wanted to point out to you. But like I said, I just want to read you this post that I made earlier today on my Facebook page. And so this says, Aquarius has 2 rulers, Saturn, its first, and Uranus, who was originally known as the sky god, who lay with Gaia and fathered 12 children, known as the Titans. One of these was Cronus, who's now called Saturn. Saturn is also known as Cronus, or the Lord of Time, Lord of Karma. So, and it's the last planet that we can see with the naked eye. So anything after Saturn, we need a telescope in order to be able to see it, which is why it took so long for our civilization, shall we say, to actually realise there were more planets out there than just Saturn and the others that we could see. So Saturn was always the boundary point, which is why it also kind of rules the physical bones of the body, the structure. The next planet after Saturn, interestingly, is Uranus. And Uranus was discovered in 1781. Saturn recently moved into Aquarius, the sign of sociability, friendships, community, the collective, and immediately came into a square with Uranus. The squares being a challenge, difficulty, restriction, and Uranus, of course, is Saturn's father. So the energy of Uranus, which is all about change, innovation, inspiration, thinking outside the box, and freedom to be yourself, is at this time being forcefully pushed away from its home sign. Uranus rules Aquarius, which is where Saturn is forcefully being pushed away from its own sign by the restricting, constricting, controlling forces of the Lord of Time stroke karma, action and consequences. And I'd just like to add to that as well that both those planets would be happier swapping over where they are. So Saturn, who rules Capricorn, which is an earth sign, would rather be in Taurus because it's also an earth sign and it understands it better. Whereas Uranus is an air sign and it wants to be in its own sign of Aquarius. Really, that's where it's happier. But it's stuck in Taurus, which is a fixed earth sign, and it's a sign where it's not comfortable. So today we can add to this mix Mars, also known as Aries, as it meets up with Saturn exact today. Mars is the warrior god who blazes through the sky on his chariot to his next battle, conflict, conquest, victory. In mythology, not only did Saturn defeat his father, he did it by castrating him and leaving him less than. At this moment of our lives, we are all feeling this energy of a metaphorical castration, and Mars is now about to activate that energy. So Mars is about to come in and kind of help boost this energy of Saturn, kind of forcing this energy of Uranus out of the Aquarius space. That's how it feels to me. It's kind of like, you know, Uranus wants to be in that space. It wants to be, if it was trining, then it would be great. It would be an excellent energy, but it's not. It's pushing it away. So it's constricting, it's kind of stopping everything from being sociable, and if we can't get out, and it's very much playing out on a global level as well at this moment in time, and it is connected to the Neptune in Pisces energy as well. Yeah, Mars is now about to activate that energy, which has been building for the last few days, bringing in a sense of frustration at not being able to do what we want to do, saying to us, if you really want something new and different, it's not going to come that easy. You need to stand up and find your inner warrior. And in Aquarius, that inner warrior wants us to change our limited way of thinking and find the strength to accept the weird and wacky within and break out of the bonds of constriction. But Mars also has to answer to Saturn and do Saturn's bidding, and Saturn's bidding at the moment is about making everything more constrictive, more tighter, more restrictive, constrictive, tighter, tightening those bonds. And Mars can also bring in the element of fear there as well. And so Mars wants to kind of, is an energy that is building. It almost feels like something has got to erupt, something's got to burst, something's got to kind of give in this energy, so to speak. So yeah, while you're at it, give them a sense of fear of not even knowing what's really happening out there, as Mercury is about to come together conjunct with Neptune in Pisces, which is watery, deeply subconscious, illusional, creative, dreamy. But Mercury can't make sense of any of this and feels like it's still lost in the ocean, in a fog, with very little idea of direction. Although it's now out of shadow, it needs to trust and surrender to what that is, what its sense of direction is. It needs to kind of let that go and just kind of trust that it's going to do, that it's going to be okay. Trust that things are as they are meant to be. And trusting that its sense of purpose will kind of become clearer, will become more obvious. But for a planet that likes facts, figures and statistics, that isn't an easy thing to do. After Uranus was castrated and his genitals were cast into the ocean, from the foam of the spray, Venus / Aphrodite was born, who is herself in her home sign of Taurus and has just made a very supportive trine across to the upcoming Pluto-Jupiter conjunction as well. So that's something else that I will talk about at a later date. But basically I ended it with stay calm amidst the crazy and know that this too will pass. Much love to all. So there is this kind of energy of, I feel, in play, also this kind of Uranus, Saturn, like in the mythology, this kind of sense of the son and the father kind of battling it out, with Mars there as well, this kind of long ongoing feud in a way between these two big energies. And it's all kind of playing out in the heavens and playing out down here at the same time, what we're going through with this kind of, also the Neptune, as I was saying, the Neptune in Pisces energy. Neptune relates to things like viral illnesses and diseases, plagues, that kind of thing. And also we also have Jupiter doing the whole kind of expansive, making everything seem bigger than it actually is energy as well. So things at the moment, at this moment in time, are feeling quite stuck, but also getting to a point where things have to be released, and this is what's come out in the reading today. I feel very strongly for this collective reading. The first card that we get here is the Five of Earth, which kind of represents all of us, I feel, with this energy here of just kind of things. Looks like, you know, we're stuck in this period of time, we're stuck in this way of thinking, we're stuck, we're constricted, it's kind of, we're bound. And the more we try to escape, the tighter. It's a bit like a boa constrictor. You know, the tighter it becomes, the more we try to fight it, or the more we try to remove ourselves from it, the tighter those bonds get. And it's covered today with the 10 of air, which is saying to me very much, this is a releasing energy. This is the covering, this is the challenge, this is what the collective needs to kind of try and do, is release its fears, I feel. Because Swords is all about the mind. And it's about, usually you see somebody who's got like 10 swords stabbed in their back, or their kind of swords are all around them, but somehow they're kind of restricted and constricted. But it being a 10, it's also about realizing that it's the ending point here as well. That the 10 is the ending. The 5 is kind of halfway through. The 5 can be difficult times, adversity, things not going the way they're supposed to be, things not going the way we've planned them or thought we were going. Also, the kind of energy of this card is quite spring-like as well to me. There is this kind of look about this card where things are kind of coming into growth here. But it's also resembles to me a kind of time of being kept in hibernation, of not being ready for things to bloom, to come to a head. Things aren't ready yet. It's like we're kind of still being kept. The universe is still keeping us in this energy of waiting, really, waiting. This kind of waiting for something to free us, I feel, on some level. And that's what this card for me here is saying, is that this is about releasing our worries, our fears, our stresses, because there's a lot of that going on at the moment as well. The unknown, people not knowing what's coming next. And when it's the 10, because it's an ending, there has to be something after the 10. But as of yet, we don't know what that is. So that's causing even more fear and even more worry. This is the air signs here. Aquarius, Libra and Gemini. Energy. And this is the earth signs of Capricorn, Taurus and Virgo. So I just had another thought come into my head of how they represent kind of Uranus in Taurus, which is being held back and restricted. This energy is literally being stopped from allowing us to be sociable, to be out there, to kind of, you know, we're all in this restrictive energy. And this is the Uranus energy here of release. So this is the earth and the air kind of battling it out in a way. The air energy that wants to have more freedom. To be able to go where it wants to go. If you think of the wind, it just kind of goes. Kind of like, you know, it has no restrictions. The wind has no restrictions. So there is this need here, I feel, as well, on a kind of mental, logical level, to release our tension, release our sense of fear. Swords are all about the mind kind of keeping us in place, kind of in a way keeping ourselves restricted by our own thought processes as well. How we look at something as to how we kind of deal with it. What's in our head and what we are aware of at this moment in time is the Fool card here. And this is kind of the call for something new, for a new beginning. So it is like we are aware that there is change happening on a deeper level, and that we can't take the old through into the new. This, for me, represents the conjunction of Saturn and Pluto that happened in January. Major conjunction on the 12th of January. It was like a new call, something new going out, something kind of saying in our lives that a new beginning is coming. There is something new coming in. But in order to be able to get to the new, we have to release the old. To release what we don't want to take with us into the future. And the trumpet here, which is playing, it's kind of the light coming out of it here. It's kind of, for me, it's what creates this gateway in the back, if you like, which always represents a new start. How can I put it? Like from one energy into another energy. And there's also something about this trumpet and kind of the walls of Jericho as well. For me today, with this trumpet, the kind of walls of Jericho, how they were supposed to have fallen because of the trumpet sound. And Capricorn represents, or Capricorn Saturn represents those walls, that structure. So there's an element of that here as well. And the conjunction itself took place in Capricorn, which is ruled by Saturn. And the energy of Capricorn is all about restriction, governance, laws, hierarchy as well as patriarchy. So this card for me is kind of saying that there's this big new beginning that is being kind of built from the ashes of the old, but we're still very much at the very, very start of this energy. And we have the Two of Earth here, an energy that's been around for a while, but it's leaving us, what we're moving away from, which today to me is representing this kind of energy of magnetism and kind of repelling. So it's what you either pull towards you or it's what you push away from you. Depending on how you're feeling, depending on the energies that you're putting out there, depending on what you are believing, depending on your state of mind, really, which I think this is about as well, your state of mind. Swords represents the mind, the logical, the thinking, how we work things out, plan things. But of course at this moment in time we've also got Mercury in Pisces, so our thinking's all a little bit kind of foggy, confused. But this Two of Earth for me is about balance. It is about us kind of trying to find some kind of balance in our lives at this moment in time, with everything turned upside down in a way as well. Trying to balance our inner and our outer world. The very dualistic energy here. But more than anything, like I was saying, it feels to me as though it's about magnetism and repelling. So you can bring to you the energy of what it is that you believe, and at the same time you can kind of push away or separate yourself from what you believe you should have, or what you feel you deserve. So there's a quite deeper feeling behind this card today. It's kind of coming through to me as this overall energy of what do we feel that we deserve, literally, what do we believe we deserve, what do we feel that we should have in our lives, or what do we deserve to have in our lives, whether that be financial, whether that be love, whether that be safety, security. At the same time as you can pull it towards you, you can also repel it as well. There's something about separation as well in this card today. Separating, because of also everything that's happening out there, this kind of social distancing and this needing to separate ourselves. We've kind of been brought up with this mentality that we are separate beings. And that there is, nothing is connected. When that isn't true. As we are kind of realising quite strongly at this moment, with everything kind of happening across the globe, everything is connected. And that is also very Aquarian energy as well. And what's underneath and in our subconscious at the moment is the fact that we are having to kind of do this balancing tightrope walk act. And I feel that these are very strongly connected as well. I often see this card as the next step. Where's my next step? How do I put my next, put my foot down for it to be safe, for me not to fall, for me to kind of be kept in this position. but she can't maintain that position forever. In this picture here, she's kind of got her balance. And it's very single pointed. That's her other foot behind her there, and her hands are out here. So she is that kind of balance, which also is this card here as well, this kind of need for balance and harmony in our lives. And again, it's a 5 of air. So it is about adversity. It is about us working through things. And Saturn, as a malefic, always works through the adversity of things, or what appears to be adversity. So this is kind of collective subconscious at the moment, is that we are walking this tightrope. And there's a feeling of kind of not feeling very safe here. Not feeling as though we're going to get to the end of this as well. The end of this tightrope. And that it is a very fine balancing act here as well. To stay on course. And the energy that's moving in, the 4 of water. The 4 of water is all about kind of disappointment. For me, this is Neptune and Mercury energy. It is the water signs, Pisces, Cancer and Scorpio. But at this moment in time, collectively, this is the most important energy in the sense of the water signs. Although we do also have the moon's north node just about to leave Cancer over the next few months, about a month and a half, I think. But I feel that this is more Neptune. I feel that this is more about this sense of kind of not being able to make sense of anything. This sense of confusion, this sense of kind of, I often see this as the crystal ball, kind of looking into this crystal ball and kind of seeing yourself there. But because it's in reverse, there may also be this feeling of like people are going to get fed up with this kind of energy of being with themselves even. Because you can talk to people on the phone, you can go on your computer, or you can chat with people in other ways, but ultimately it is just going to be yourself. And I feel that this is kind of about us facing ourselves as well. This kind of ball here being this kind of reflective energy. It also represents a pearl as well, and a pearl for me is always about something that's created under, again, adverse kind of effects, because the oyster doesn't want that little grain of sand that gets into its shell. It feels uncomfortable, it feels disruptive, it is painful, it can feel it, it's gritty, it's kind of, it can't get rid of it. So what does it do? It coats it over and over and over again until it becomes this beautiful pearl, which kind of represents something that's made outside of the self but by the self as well. But it starts off as something that's not wanted, something that kind of has sneaked in there in some ways. And the Four of Cups often represents this energy of disappointment, this kind of feeling of it can be an emptiness as well with the Four of Cups. There can be this feeling of like something's not complete, like something doesn't feel as though it's like there's something missing with the Four of Cups. Because the Four of Cups is usually the energy which starts the process in a relationship of discontent. So that's another energy around this card as well, is discontentment, of things not being able to be what am I getting here? I'm kind of getting these pictures, but it's putting them into words that's not easy, and kind of the sensations of just this overall discontentment with how things don't seem to be coming together for us. Again, this feeling of trappedness as well, this feeling of kind of in our subconscious realm, having to face up to things, having to look at things that we don't necessarily want to look at because it's in reverse. So I will pull more cards, but before I do, I'm just going to say I pulled two more. One for our hopes and fears, and the Seven of Cups, Seven of Water, is the card that came out here, which often talks of a time of kind of a confusing state, of too much choice, of too many options, of things kind of... Again, I get this Neptune feeling, this kind of feeling of just sense of confusion, of not knowing how things are going to change, how's it ever going to get back to normal in a way as well, I feel. Because this is hopes and fears. So there's a part of us that I feel is kind of waking up to the world that is not ever going to be normal again. It's never going to fit into our kind of limited understanding of how things have been. And I feel as though it's going to be very confusing for a lot of people out there as well. So that's the hopes and the fears. And this is the kind of where we're heading, if you like, card. which is the Six of Earth, the Six of Pentacles, which is a lovely card because it talks of this kind of balance, balancing our, again, this earthy energy, our kind of practical side, if you like, our stability and our energy of being able to give and receive, and learning the importance of both, and knowing that neither giving or receiving are either greater than the other. And you have to kind of learn how to do both. You have to learn, if you're a giver, you have to learn how to receive, because if you stop somebody from being able to give to you, you're blocking that energy of them giving. Which, as a giver, you give because you enjoy being able to give. But as a giver, you find it hard to receive. But you have to remember that there's somebody who's trying to give you something which will give them pleasure to give it to you, just like it does you to give to somebody else. And that works both ways. So if you're a receiver, you have to learn to be able to give to somebody, so that you can open your energy to help other people in the process of receiving as well. So there needs to be a balance here. This is what it's saying. It is upright, so it's in a good position. But we need to learn how to give and take on a more balanced, and I feel this also relates to the earth energy as well, because it is earth. So it is also relating to what we need to kind of balance within our ecosystems, and balance within our, what we take and what we give back to the earth and ourselves, because it is all connected and we are all part of the same thing, as is kind of being shown by what's going on at the moment, and the fact that there's less pollution out there at this moment in time. And I was watching a video earlier today where kind of the wildlife is just beginning to come back into towns, and people are just amazed at these different animals that are just wandering about, because there's no cars to knock them down and there's less noise to frighten them, and it's quite remarkable to see it. And it also shows how kind of the human race is very oblivious, shall we say, or kind of non-caring towards nature, and you know how close in proximity we are living literally with nature every day, but we kind of have this blank this kind of blank, not idea, but this blank way of going around in the world. Almost like, you know, when we do see an animal, it's almost like, you know, it's an amazing thing, because we don't live in a kind of beneficial, balanced way anymore. We've become very, very kind of removed from what is naturally out there and what naturally we receive and what naturally is given to us. And I feel that that's what this card is about today. So I'm just going to quickly pull some more cards and ask for some clarifiers over the top of the 5 of Earth and the 10 of Air. So I just thought I saw one flip over, but I don't think I did. So, clarifying cards for 5 of Earth. That one certainly flipped over. The Queen of Water, the Queen of Feelings, the Queen of the Subconscious. Subconscious realm, very similar to the High Priestess, the Queen of Cups energy. Sits very much in her emotions. Totally immersed in her emotions, but she's come out upright, reversed rather than upright. So it's kind of saying to me that we're not dealing with our emotions. We're not there is within this card an energy of kind of mirroring, and also what I was saying earlier about this kind of magnetic pulling towards and pushing away energy as well. I feel that with this card here too, because she is all about feelings. She is all about our sensitivity to things. Scorpio, Cancer, Piscean energy. And she could also literally be representing today the kind of social distancing as well, in reverse, and us not kind of experiencing things in the same way as we normally would. And I feel that there's a need for us to go deeper into our emotions here. And this is where this release is coming in as well. We kind of need to release this on a deeper level. In order to move beyond she also represents, if you look here, she's got the snakes kind of bound around. I'll turn it up the other way so you can see it better. The snakes are kind of twining themselves around this chair here. They are symbols of snakes, and she does hold this apple in her hand, because she also represents, I do believe, Helen of Troy. And the apple was what started a lot of well, it started the 10-year war, a lot of conflict, a lot of kind of discord. And we do also have Eris at the moment, who is the goddess of discord, who threw the apple into the party that started all the Helen of Troy war off, because of the who's the fairest goddess that was written on the apple, who is the fairest, or for the fairest. And so there is, at this moment in time as well, I feel this kind of Mars building up energy with Saturn, which is what this is about here. And this energy here can also represent that kind of eruption of our emotions as well. Eris being the troublemaker. And the Queen of Cups can also play that card of the troublemaker, because she mirrors our projections onto somebody or onto something, and then we often get disappointed because it doesn't turn out the way we want it to or the way we thought it was going to. So that can bring in kind of a sense of disappointment, which is also this card here, and this energy, this disappointment. And the energy that's moving in. But the snake also, the snake, as I was saying earlier, this kind of being bound by something, being bound, possibly being bound by our emotions as well. Not knowing how to react. It's a situation that we've kind of never found ourselves in. So we don't know how to react. We're all kind of trying to make the best of a very difficult situation at this moment in time. And our emotions are kind of being tested. So what we've had come out with this card of the Fool, two cards came out, Judgment card and the Eight of Cups. The Judgment card is about, it's come out reversed, but it's about forgiveness. It's about this need to release, again, this releasing energy, letting things go, letting the past go, moving beyond where we are, moving beyond the past. Releasing old stories, releasing our ghosts. This is Hermes, this is literally Mercury. Messenger of the gods. He moves between the planets and picks up the messages and takes it from one planet to the next and tells them what's going on, what they can expect. And so here we also have the Eight of Cups. So this is also about us walking away. And if you look at both these cards here, they both have stairs, so they're both about going down into the underworld of our emotions, which is what I felt this was about as well. This energy here in reverse, and these were both in reverse too. So there's a feeling that we don't particularly want to go down into the underworld. We don't want to go to that place. We don't want to look at our history, at our past. We don't want to see what's led us up to where we are now. But often with a new beginning, when something starts and we have to learn to trust something new and move beyond it and move forward, we first of all have to deal with the emotional baggage. Now this could also represent as well this healing energy of Chiron and Black Moon Lilith as well. Because Black Moon Lilith, for me, kind of represents the actual poison, shall we say, of what's being released into the world at this moment in time. And I mean that metaphorically again rather than actually. It's like a metaphorical like thickness. It feels like this kind of, to me it feels like this kind of pus that's been removed or released or kind of extracted in a kind of painful way, and it's kind of like we don't have any control over it. We can't control it. We can't, it's something that we've got to just kind of sit back and allow it to happen in order for us to move into this new realm, this new world that is being created out of the kind of depths of the ashes of the past. And I'm not saying that the world's going to end, because I don't think that's so at all, but I think that what is ending is the structure of how we believe the world should be and how it has been, and that's all kind of coming down, that's all ending, that's all. And each one of us is kind of responsible for our own parts that we play in that. So it's almost like the universe at this moment in time is forcing us all into this situation of having to deal with things in a way that we've never dealt with it before, and that includes our governments as well. It's like, you know, they've not had to deal with this situation. They don't know any better than we do. So we have the Five of Swords and the Six of Cups here, and that's on this energy here, this kind of balancing, magnetizing, repelling energy. Also this energy I feel of kind of where we're learning that we ourselves are responsible for our actions, if you like, for what we create in the physical world. And with the Five of Swords here, it is saying that we've reached a point of kind of choice, if you like. For me, it kind of feels a bit like a split in the road here. It's kind of energy of splitting the road. Because this sun god Apollo here is telling this character down here that he has to go and do something because it's always been that way, because it's got to stay that way. This is your patriarchal kind of system, if you like, which is still saying, you know, we have the power, we have the control here. You have to keep it in place, if you like. They only have that because we give it to them. And that's something that we're going to become more and more aware of as we move further into 2021, 22 and 23, I feel. Those years are going to be major upheavals and changes, bigger than 2020. So the Six of Cups here, the nostalgia energy, is also kind of drawing us back into the old. It's also kind of keeping us in that place. It's also because we're looking at things from the past. But there is also within this card, each of these cups here represents a past situation on an emotional basis to me as well. So it's very much inclusive of the emotions. But here Psyche is kind of looking at this one cup. She's got 5 down here, which represent the kind of betrayal that she's had to go through in order to get to this place here. And this place is about nostalgia, it's about melancholy, it's about looking back over the past. But this one cup here is like her new beginning, shall we say. It's like she has a chance, an opportunity to do something else now. She realises that it doesn't have to be the same, that what's happened in the past does not have to be repeated. That things can be different, that she can't change the past, but she can change what is yet to happen. And that's also what I feel this is about here as well. This kind of, you know, you can change the past. You can't change the past, sorry, but you can change what's going to happen. But you first have to change the kind of magnetic or repelling energies that you have within yourself. And that is collectively as well. We all have to kind of realise that we are creating something new as we go along. And that, I feel, is kind of the split. This is the split in the road kind of energy here. This energy here is literally the split in the road, the kind of walking away energy up here. So let's see why the Five of Air is in the collective subconscious. The Hermit. Kind of very fitting. Hermit for me always represents this kind of chrysalis stage, this kind of withdrawal. Even in a crowded room, you can be in a hermit energy and just feeling as though you're not fitting in, you don't want to be there. I mean, at this moment in time, we can't be in that kind of energy anyway, but that's kind of what it's saying. And it also has this scythe here, which is also about kind of cutting away what we no longer need, releasing these ghosts, releasing the past energy that has kept us kind of repeating the same stories over and over. The Hermit, and I feel this quite strongly, the Hermit energy at this moment in time is kind of giving us a chance to re-evaluate our past as well, where we've come from, what we created with what we had, with the knowledge as well of what we had then compared to what we are learning about things now. And feel again with this kind of walk in this tightrope. This tightrope of kind of understanding things differently, but at the same time being told that we have to keep doing things the same way. But the Hermit is about going within to seek the answers, to find yourself, to find your own inner light, to find your higher connection. It's also about working with the shadow side as well. That side of ourselves that we don't like to look at or accept, which collectively is pretty damn huge. But that's what I feel, we're in this stage of a chrysalis at the moment, waiting. We're all kind of being forced into this hermit-like energy by the universe. Because it wants us to seek answers deep within ourselves instead of kind of looking outside, or even not having the time to do it as well, to not being able to give ourselves the time to seek. And so the energy that's moving in is the Three of Swords, which is a painful but cathartic at the same time energy. Cathartic means it's something that, although it hurts, there's also a healing taking place within this as well. It's kind of a bursting of the bubble. It's kind of seeing through the illusion to the reality, and this really is the illusion, really. This is the Neptune, kind of Mercury, everything's kind of, how can you put it, kind of a nebulous kind of energy of kind of, it might be, it might not be, it could be, and then again maybe it isn't. It's that kind of like, if you listen to the media at the moment, there's so much information out there, but none of it seems to kind of be solid enough to say, yes, this is definite. There's all these different statistics and kind of different people coming from different places about how the best way to deal with this situation is. And I feel that this is kind of this energy here, but this is also with the Three of Wands saying that something is going to kind of come along that is going to burst that bubble. And I feel that that bubble is kind of our trust, if you like, in the people who tell us that they know better. And things are going to be revealed as well, whatever has been kind of kept secret or hidden, the unknown, the subconscious realm, things are going to start to be kind of painfully, I feel, painfully, what is coming is going to be painful for a lot of people. And I don't think that's necessary. I'm not saying that people are going to suffer pain in the sense of physical pain, although some people may feel that. But I feel that this is more a mental pain. This is more a kind of angst and a kind of feeling of being, again, betrayed. This betraying energy here, which is also this energy down here with this Five of Cups. For me, 5 always represents betrayal. And this, of course, is disappointment. So what I'm picking up here is kind of whatever it is that is going to be kind of painful, heartbreaking for some, literally heartbreaking, I feel, because they're not expecting it. It's something that's kind of going to come out of the murky depths, shall we say. And it's going to cause a lot of confusion as well. This hopes and fears card here. It's going to cause a lot of confusion. But there is also this hope that things will, like I was saying, that things will kind of I get a sense of things becoming more I wouldn't say fairer, but kind of this sense of opening up, just like things opening up, like opening yourself up to being able to accept what's coming. Because it's a hope and a fear, and a hope and a fear isn't an actual tangible thing, but it can become so. The more you focus on a fear, the realer it can become. Same as if the more you focus on hope, the more you can, again, this attracting energy here, you can attract it into your life. You can attract both energies as well. You can attract fear and you can attract hope. And this is kind of what I was feeling about this magnetic energy, but also this repelling energy, because you can repel the good as much as you can repel the bad. And a lot of it is down to what you focus your attention on. So the more you focus your attention on the fear and the stress, the more you're going to magnetize that in, even though you don't want it, because you're literally focusing your attention on it. Whereas if you focus your attention on the hope and that the belief that things can change and that things are changing and that this is all happening for a reason, even if we don't know what that reason is or that reason doesn't make sense. Kind of give yourself some space. Stay positive. You can pull that energy in as well. So kind of time maybe also to cut off from any news as well that can be upsetting for us at the moment. Switch off the TV, do something else. But be aware that there is this energy of a cathartic, painful situation that is going to come into our lives. And like I say, for some people who aren't very aware of what's happening on a bigger scale, there could be a lot of shock. A lot of just a real sense of kind of being let down. Not being told the truth even. So 2 more cards. The King of Pentacles and the 2 of Cups here. The King of Pentacles is a very stable, very practical energy. It's a doing energy. It's very slow. It's very methodical. It takes its time. And it's come out over the top of this confusing hopes and fears. So this is in our hopes and fears. And our hopes and fears are saying that we are... I kind of get the feeling this is the stay-at-home card. This is the Earth card. This is the fixed energy card. This is the self-dependence. This is kind of finding ways to do do old things in practical terms, or do new things even in practical terms. But the Knight of Pentacles is the earth energy of kind of Taurus and Capricorn and Virgo. It's very traditional as well. There is a traditional kind of energy about this Knight. And it's come out with the upside down 2 of Cups. And the 2 of Cups is about initiation of attraction, the initial attraction between 2 people. But it's in reverse. This could have something to do, of course, with the fact that a lot of us aren't even allowed to see our partners at this moment in time. So they could have something to do with this, because it is just hopes and fears, as I was saying. But again, do not focus on the fear side of this. Try to focus more on the positive side, that things will slowly improve. That this is going to take its time, but it will eventually kind of open things up in a new way. But there's 2 of Cups here upside down. Hopes and fears. It could also be that there's going to be a lot of kind of endings of relationships as well. Or a lot of people aren't trusting other people, or trusting to be in a relationship with somebody, because there's a lot of fear out there, and it may take us a while to kind of recover from that energy as well. So I'm going to put a card on the Six of Earth, and I might put another card on this Two of Cups. Okay, Two of Cups, the Three of Cups. So we go from this energy of not being able to be together, I feel, with new relationships. I think this is about new relationships and this feeling of kind of having to put everything on hold at this moment in time. Love in many ways is kind of being put on hold at this moment in time globally. But then there's also this energy here with the Three of Cups, which is about celebrating. But it's in our hopes and our fears. So there is this part of us that fears that this is not going to progress from this to this. That this state of confusion, this long kind of lasting, slow moving energy is going to keep us stuck in this energy of, like, you know, no touching, kind of no hugging, no kissing, no bodily contact. And then we're kind of wanting to get to this stage here, which is the celebration, coming out of this. But there still feels, even though it's a celebration, even though there's kind of this sense of relief in a way of coming out of it, there is also this kind of almost like a shadow side, I suppose, almost like something's left there. It's lingering kind of energy of, you know, of how, I wouldn't say dangerous relationships are, but kind of how of how when you get involved with somebody, you know, you don't know that person. That is obvious, I know, unless you've actually known them as a friend previously. But if it's somebody who you just meet and you want to have a relationship with them, it's like you don't know anything about their history. You have to trust what they're telling you. And so there could be some kind of lingering kind of fears and doubts there as well, even though there is this sense of celebration. I get this kind of lingering energy of finding it difficult to actually trust that it's okay again to be with people after having to kind of alienate and kind of go through this stage for so long. So quickly, Six of Earth, thank you. Oh, change, big change, transformation, massive transformation. This really is the Pluto-Jupiter conjunction that's just about to happen on the 5th of April. Which is already, like I said, kind of coming together. That energy has been coming together for quite some time, since kind of mid-March. Because it's such a slow-moving energy, slow-moving planets, slowly moving together. And each time they get closer and closer, the energy gets stronger and stronger and builds until eventually they come together. And then that energy kind of erupts, if you like. It kind of reaches its peak. And then as they draw away from each other, the energy kind of dissipates, moves away, changes. But it has longer lasting rippling effects. And Jupiter and Pluto are going to, because of the retrogrades that are coming up, they are going to meet up 3 times this year. So on the 5th of April, that will be the first conjunction. And then they will meet up again later in the year, twice more. So this is change. This is that transformation. This is that Pluto energy. This is that no going back. Everything changing, giving, receiving, the way that we treat our planet, the way that we treat each other. It all has to change. There has to be this major transformation. And sometimes it takes something big and major for us to kind of listen, to wake up, to heed the call, in order for something new to come in. There has to be a massive wake-up call for that change to be able to take place. And that is what's coming. With this card, I always like to see the sunrise in the background as well. For me, it's a sunrise rather than a sunset, and it's kind of saying, you know, a new dawn, new day, things are changing, transformation. There's also with this Hermit card as well, there's a similar energy here, working with the shadow side of ourselves, that kind of energy of the things that keep us going over the same story, as I was saying earlier as well, with this Judgment card here as well in reverse, going over the same stories, repeating the same things, drawing the same things to us, our hopes and our fears in many ways. So those are the energies in play at this moment in time as Saturn and Mars become conjunct, squaring over to Uranus. And Uranus, of course, is that innovative energy that wants to change things, move things up, but it's stuck itself in many ways in fixed Taurus, who doesn't want to do anything but keep tradition, keep things the way that it feels they should be. So this energy here, this Jupiter-Pluto energy, is going to, like I said, happen 3 times, and it is gradually going to really move things on. Each time it comes conjunct, it's like a process happening. Each time it happens, something else will kind of transform around us, changing the old. And at this moment in time as well, this could also represent those that are kind of leaving the planet. As well, the kind of energy of death, of kind of mourning as well, and mourning for those that are leaving, those that are suffering. But also an awareness of how much kind of growth as well within death, transformation that can only come through that kind of process of breaking things down in order for something new to transform. So I'm going to leave that there, that message for the collective, and I'm going to move into this card here, which is a beautiful rainbow, which says to me, it's like after the rain, the sun comes out, and so does the rainbow. Always, always a fortuitous sign, the rainbow. So the card itself says, just let me take my glasses off. You are the blessing. You are blessed. Sorry, you are a blessed soul. and a blessing to this world and others. In giving, you also receive. There we go. In giving, you also receive. For life is an ebb and flow of love and blessings. That's what this card is also about as well, the ebb and flow, the coming in and the leaving. It's the one thing that we can all be certain of, and it's the one thing that we all try to ignore as a certainty, is that from the moment we first take our first breath, we will continue to be dying. And that's kind of like a morbid way of looking at things, but at the same time it kind of shows you the kind of impermanence of things as well, that nothing is permanent, nothing is really set ever completely in stone. Nothing is ever as solid as we think it is. Everything can change, and that includes our world physically as well. Our world's always changing physically. Volcanoes erupt, earthquakes move the earth about, and all kinds of things happen. There's constant change, constant death. So coming back to the Namaste Blessing card, sidetracked there. We are all of a single essence and one in spirit. To give is to bless both yourself and others. I'm going to read that again. You are the blessing. You are a blessed soul and a blessing to this world and others. In giving, you also receive, for life is an ebb and flow of love and blessings. We are all of a single essence and one in spirit. To give is to bless both yourself and others, which fits really nicely with this card, as I was talking about earlier, giving and receiving. And lastly, very lastly, I want to read you the medicine card that I decided I was going to pull today rather than a crystal. So the dolphin here speaks of manna. And it says, dolphin, breathe with me, breathe of the divine, manna of the universe. In oneness we entwine. So again, it's speaking of that oneness. Dolphin speaks to us of the breath of life. The only thing that humans cannot go without for more than a few minutes. We can live without water and food for days, but oxygen is the source of our sustenance. Within the breath, we encounter the rhythm of energy that all life emits. I'll put this down over here. In changing the rate or rhythmic texture of our breath, we can tap into any other life form or creature. This is a very easy way to connect with divine energy coming from Great Spirit, as well as with your own personal rhythm. Dolphin is the keeper of the sacred breath of life and teaches us how to release emotions through dolphin breath. Dolphin creates rhythm, swimming through the water and breathing through submerging, then holding to breathe for the duration of underwater travel. As dolphin comes above water again, it blows its breath out in a manner resembling the popping of a cork. We can use this same technique to pull the stopper on our tensions and create total relaxation. This is a good exercise to use before entering the silence. Mana is life force. Mana is present in every atom and is Great Spirit's essence. Dolphin teaches us how to use life mana through our breath. It revitalizes each cell and organ and breaks the limits and dimensions of physical reality so that we may enter the dream time. Which is quite interesting as well, because maybe that's what we all need to do at this moment in time, is breathe deeply to kind of relieve that stress and the tensions here with this restricting energy that we're all under at this moment in time. Dolphin was travelling across the oceans one day as Grandmother Moon was weaving the patterns of the tides. Grandmother Moon asked Dolphin to learn her rhythms so that he could open his female side to her silvery light. Dolphin began to swim to the rhythm of her tide weaving and learned to breathe in a new way. As Dolphin continued to use this new rhythm, he entered the dreamtime. This reality was a new and different place from the seas he had known. Dolphin had come to discover underwater cities in the dreamtime and was given the gift of the primordial tongue. This new language, speaking of new beginnings, things changing, this new language was the sound language that was brought by Spider from the great star nation. Dolphin learned that all communication was pattern and rhythm, and that the new aspect of communication was sound. He carries this original pattern to this day. Dolphin returned to the ocean of the Great Mother and was very sad until Whale came by and told Dolphin that he could return to be a messenger to the Dreamtime dwellers anytime he felt the rhythm and used the breath. Dolphin was given a new job. He became the carrier of messages of our progress. The Dreamtime dwellers were curious about the children of Earth and wanted us to grow to be at one with Great Spirit. Dolphin was to be the link. There you go. Breath. It's all about the breath. It's all about the breathing. Deep, slow, gentle, in and out breaths will make you feel a lot calmer very quickly, very easily. But I pulled this card in reverse, so I will read you the reverse meaning. It says, if Dolphin appears reversed, know that you are forgetting to breathe. You may be under stress and your body may need mana. You may be starving your cells and organs, no matter how many vitamins you are taking. Your natural cycles may be fouling up. Pay close attention to your health and your feelings. If you are on edge or just tense, take time to relax and breathe the life force into your muscles. Focus on releasing old breath at the bottom of your lungs and refilling your respiratory system with regenerative mana. That's what I was saying earlier, is tension. This needs to be stressed. This is our challenge at the moment. This is what's crossing us. This is what's kind of holding us back, is this need to release our fears and our tensions and our stress and breathe, because this is an air card. As I was saying earlier, this is the card of air, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, which of course is where Saturn is at this moment in time, causing all this stress. So we need to breathe. Breathe from the diaphragm and fill the lungs to capacity. Then exhale from the chest to the belly, allowing your body to totally relax as you breathe out. Another message of Contrary Dolphin is that many signals are carried through universal tides or waves, and you may be failing to use your sonar. To detect these wave patterns, you may need to realign yourself with natural rhythm within your body. Then it is necessary to use the dolphin breath to connect to universal awareness and signals. Dolphin says to dive deeply into the water. That's what I was saying here about diving into our emotions, into our feelings, into our senses or sensitivities, our feelings. To play by the coral reeds and to discover the beauty of the rhythm of breath. So there you go. Breathing, vitally important, and I feel very much that we don't do enough of that as it is, as we're so busy rushing around on a day-to-day basis. Very few people give themselves any time in order to relax fully and kind of let things go, or kind of sit in front of the TV and just kind of veg out. But that's not the same as relaxing and really kind of releasing the stresses and the tensions. So the breathing is really where we're needing to focus our attention at the moment. And particularly, like I was saying, because Saturn is restricting Aquarius, and Aquarius is all about the air, the breath, the kind of needing to breathe deeply and stop restricting ourselves when it comes to breath, and kind of looking after ourselves as well. So I'm going to leave this messages, whatever, here, and say thank you very much for listening. I hope that you will get something out of this. Also, could you please thumbs it up for me, put it out there into the bigger YouTube world, because it's the only way that it gets kind of recognized by YouTube, is the more likes that it gets. And also, if you could subscribe to my channel, it would make me very happy to have you as a subscriber. And if you have already subscribed, thank you very much. I hope you're still enjoying the videos that I'm putting out there. I'm trying to do them as regularly as I can at this time. And also tap the bell, because that will tell you or give you some kind of heads up to the next time that a video gets put out there. So I'm going to leave it there. Just say there is going to be a link down below in the description box for a free natal chart, as there always is, if you want to check out your own astrology in regards to what's happening at this moment in time. And also my email is there for anybody who would like to have a personal private reading with me. If you drop me an email, I will get back to you and let you know when's a good time, or when you can fit it in as well. And we can arrange to do it over Skype or Messenger, or by phone, however suits really. So I've done them all, and hopefully I will see you all again next time I put a video out. Thank you very much. Take care.